In the capital city of Galma, while most residents were buried in sleep or counting down the hours to a highly anticipated government vote, something unthinkable was unfolding in the shadows of power. At sunrise, the Federal Assembly of Vanya was scheduled to pass the Public Transparency and Accountability Act, a revolutionary bill designed to disrupt the flow of dirty money and expose financial misconduct at the highest levels of power. The bill had taken 3 years of heated debates and countless revisions to reach this final moment. Its key advocate, Senator Mariah Cal, a former anti-corruption lawyer, had made powerful enemies. She had survived threats, blackmail, even an attempt to frame her for embezzlement. Still, she pressed on. But as lawmakers reviewed final drafts and the media buzzed with anticipation, an emergency memo hit the desk of the Central Treasury Bank of Vanya. CDBV $3.2 billion in national defense funds had vanished from the main vault. There had been no alarms, no system alerts, just absence. The money had been there the night before, verified by a double-blind audit, and by morning it was gone. Initial suspicions pointed to a digital breach. Hackers had targeted Vanya's financial institutions in the past, but after a full scan, the bank's tech division confirmed the worst. No breach had occurred. The logs were clean, servers intact, no firewall breaches, no phishing links, no suspicious remote access. Then came the eerie discovery. The money was withdrawn physically. Security footage from the vault corridor, as well as from the lobby and lower levels, had all gone dark, offline for precisely 2 hours and 17 minutes, starting at 2:53 a.m. and returning at 5:10 a.m. Not a second more, not a second less. The cameras, each connected to an independent backup system, had never failed in over 10 years. Until that night, no motion was detected. No emergency alerts were triggered. The Central Treasury, one of the most secure buildings in the country, had been blind. And in that window, someone had walked out with billions in cash. Panic spread like wildfire behind closed doors. The Department of Fiscal Security, DFS, arrived by mid-morning. The Office of Public Integrity called for a lockdown of internal documents. Senior officials were summoned for emergency briefings. But the public was told nothing, just a short press release calling it a routine audit anomaly. Behind the scenes, investigators quietly identified a low-level logistics supervisor, Jonas Elu, as the only individual who had swiped into the restricted lower vault level during the blackout. Jonas was a 42-year-old father of 2, known for punctuality and near invisibility. He had no criminal record, no sudden wealth, and no clear motive. When brought in for questioning, he seemed oddly calm. Asked how he entered the vault and why, he looked his interrogator in the eye and said, "Sometimes the ghosts walk in plain sight." That was all. 3 days later, Jonas was found dead in his holding cell, hanged with a blanket. The surveillance camera facing his cell was, again, mysteriously disabled that night. The cause of death was ruled a suicide, but an autopsy ordered by an independent medical examiner discovered traces of a paralytic agent in his blood, enough to render a grown man unconscious within minutes. And just like that, the case began to disappear from headlines and courtrooms alike. But Senator Mariah Cal wasn't ready to let it die. Refusing to believe the official narrative, she privately hired a digital forensics expert, Tarek Solane, to investigate the incident. Tarek had once worked with the Royal Cyber Bureau, and though he had long since gone rogue, his skills were unmatched. Tarek's first breakthrough came from analyzing the vault's auxiliary power logs. He found a manual override had been triggered during the exact time of the blackout. No glitch, no bug. A physical override switch had been flipped twice by someone with level 0 clearance. According to protocol, only 3 people in the country possessed that level of clearance: the governor of the Central Treasury, the Minister of Internal Oversight, and the Chief Security Administrator of the Federation. All 3 claimed innocence. All 3 refused polygraphs. All 3, days later, left the country for medical leave. Just as Mariah was preparing to present her findings to the Assembly Committee, her convoy was struck by a heavy freight truck en route to Parliament Square. Her driver was killed instantly. She survived, barely, with fractures in her ribs and collarbone. She spent 9 days in the hospital. During her stay, Her Senate office was broken into. Her laptop was stolen. The hard copies of her vault investigation were shredded. Most notably, the encrypted flash drive labeled Hill Vault Brief, containing her only copy of the internal access logs, was missing. Meanwhile, the vote on the public transparency bill proceeded in her absence. It failed by 1 vote. The government offered no further comments on the vault incident. No one was charged. The media, starved of evidence and silenced by legal threats, quietly moved on to the next scandal. But someone else didn't. A month later, a file began to circulate across the encrypted corners of the dark web and whistleblower networks. It was titled _Vault42_Ledger XLSX. The spreadsheet contained transaction records, dummy companies, names of beneficiaries, and offshore wire transfers to accounts in Argilon, South Nummer, and East Veldora, all known financial havens. At the top of the sheet, highlighted in yellow, was a handwritten note. The ghosts are real, but they wear name tags and carry briefcases. Tell them Jonas Elu said hello. The file caused a brief international stir. A few journalists attempted to trace the accounts, but their investigations were quickly shut down. The story vanished from public discourse almost as quickly as it appeared. Today, the missing $3.2 billion remains unaccounted for. The vault cameras have been replaced. Senator Cal was reassigned to a lesser committee. The people of Ondia moved on. But those who know how the system works still whisper of the Hill job, the night the law nearly changed, and power reminded everyone who was truly in charge.